This bishop could potentially go to that square and do a nice pin on these pieces. Right. Is it a bishop you necessarily want to give up? Well, it's not going to be easy for white to get on this diagonal, and an e5 move could shut it down, but it might be a sacrifice worth playing. But it looks like MVL, did he make a mistake? He, instead of taking on f5, which is what the engines gave, he was so worried about this move of knight to d4, he decided, or bishop to d4, he decided to cover that square with the move knight to f3. And it turns out that right now, if you capture on c3 and play the move e5, the bishop will have to move. Let's drop it back somewhere. And now the move f4. And how do you stop bishop h3? How do you stop the pressure? How do you stop a rook appearing on this square? It looks like Magnus is going to win this game. It looks like it's over if Magnus finds the straightforward bishop. I mean, MVL just got up. I'm not sure what
he got nervous.
What it is nerves. But Magnus played one fiery move in f5. That was the first really aggressive sharp move that Magnus played. And MVL played this knight over to f3. And if bishop takes c3 and e5, unless he doesn't even have a strange sacrifice. Bishop takes c3, sorry, after f5, knight f3, bishop takes c3, rook takes, and then the move
e5.
Right. First of all, I'm anticipating
no,
e5,
then f4.
And no problems for him. He's going after this pawn, and he'll aggress this as much as possible. Maybe that's what he thought he was sacrificing. But the move e5, now I would love to see some kind of weird sacrifice here. But your bishop is hanging. So takes here does nothing much.
No, it doesn't work.
No tactics, okay?
No.
So after e5 again, bishop g5 allows rook takes, and Magnus has played the move that should win him this game. Can you imagine? Magnus wins this game, and Dinglerin only draws. That means Magnus is guaranteed a playoff. Guaranteed. And this gentleman has never lost a playoff in his life. How could he possibly pull off what would be a simply miraculous comeback right at the end as MVL has blundered in the game? Rook takes c3, and Magnus now has to find the move e5, which I'll tell you, there's no doubt the world champion feels this game, and it's on the board.
Well,
Magnus fights back.
With Gary Kasparov that we made the other day, where Gary said, look, Magnus just needs to win a game. And then the floodgates will open, and Magnus will play like the Magnus of 2019, who's won 8 tournaments in a row on his way to St. Louis. And when he played the move Rook b7, Magnus, in his dream of dreams, was thinking, my goodness, wouldn't it be wonderful to play Rook b7 to g7 and double up on the g file? And I mean, it just looks like one link in a chain after another, and it's all beautiful.
But his opponent had to blunder. Let's be frank. His opponent had to blunder, but then, thank you for the gift.
Right, and it all is beautiful. Now the bishop dropping back, and f5 to f4, it reminds me of my Czech Benonis, where I get, everything, including a double rooks, and suddenly the bishop showing up on h3. I mean, it's horrifyingly bad.
So bad.
This is terrible position for. I mean, it's like strategically gone on so many levels. You don't even know what white is supposed to do.
It's astonishing position, actually, if you think about it, Yaz, because after this bishop c1, f4, can you believe that the material is exactly equal?
Completely balanced.
There is no material advantage for black, but white literally has no plan and no way to defend against this very, very straightforward idea.
Not only that, the pawn on h5 sticks out like a sore thumb, and if you're forced to play a move like knight e1 to protect g2 and stop h3, well, thank you very much. The knight is dominant. There's rook comes over, and it's cautious.
And that pawn on
overkill. It's overkill. And you're absolutely right. The material may be even, but look at what the move f5, f4 does. It just shuts this bishop, this dark square bishop, and that was why Maurice was explaining why e4 takes f5 was very, very critical back here. This move would have given white's pieces some life. I mean, even if you end up, for argument's sake, losing an exchange.
You want to lose that exchange.
This bishop is actually very good in the position. The knight is going to jump to d5, and his great compensation.
What an awesome idea by Magnus, though, giving up that bishop in
Exactly.
order to lock down the position in his favor. And
His
it's kind of amazing
recognition.
how it's like, for those people who haven't studied a lot of chess strategy, who focus more on tactics and openings, look at how he trades off his dark square bishop and puts all of his pawns on the dark squares, which suddenly makes the other bishop, the bishop on c8, the star of the show.
The recognition of bishop takes c3 is brilliant.
But critically, bishop takes knight. Another subject in John Watson's book, bishop takes knight is considered the grandmaster trade, because when you have to give in your long range bishop for a knight, you're giving up a serious piece. That's a long range piece, and you're also giving up potentially the color complex. If you're not giving up the color complex, and look at this, as I'm waxing strategic, MVL goes tactical as he realizes he's dead and sacrifices a piece instead of going for the line.
That's
this
incredible.
Is a straight either desperation or genius, putting the rook on d3 in this position.
Is after takes and f4, if we play queen d2 check, rook g7, not so fast. There is an h6 move in the position. So I guess this would be the idea, but
this was in fact his idea, but at the end,
it's really ugly.
Painful. You'll get this, but this is hanging all completely, and that is something Magnus is going to have to look at. But it looks as though that's what MVL thought was going to get him the game. He saw this in advance and felt he was going to be okay, but there's a fly in the ointment at the end. Beautiful tactics by MVL, but unfortunately, they don't work out.
What a game this has been, wow. And by the way, I mean...
that pawn on h5 suddenly came to be a factor in this position.
Guys, when we came into this championship round, we knew that we were going to have a great round. But this is what lived up to every expectation we could hope for.
What a move!
I think Kim Loren is going to draw his game most cases. No, I'm not saying it's clear, but I think most of the cases he's going to draw his game, which would make the chances for Kim Loren Magnus Carlsen playoff tomorrow very high. But the question is, somebody going to join the party?
Exactly.
Is it going to be a 3 or 4 person party?
And how about Sergey? Well, let's go and check whether it's a...
He's controlling the position with play. Instead, he switches it to one where he's controlling it with his pawns. And if he had gotten this position, as we said, if he had gotten something like this, now he doesn't care that he has given up his bishop at all. And a very big point is, once he gives up his bishop for the knight, he controls the light squares even more so, because there's a remaining piece cannot be competed against. There's no light square bishop for white, and the main point of the light square domination is this point on g2. His rook's going to show up. The bishop wants to go there. Sooner or later, a knight's going to land and also attack. So the attack would just be ferocious. And this pawn sticks out like a sore thumb. It's almost dead in the water already. So that trade on c3, giving up the bishop, very delicate trade, very well assessed by Magnus. That said, we did see this line that MVL played, and he said, you know what, you did give up your bishop, so if you now take here, my goal is to show you that you're weak on the dark square. Somebody has to land on the square, and I'm going to play this move, h6. So immediately you see the ramifications of making such a trade. It's very critical to be able to assess all that. It just turns out, tactically, oops, you've already given me too much food, a free piece. You can have a rook back, because I'm still going after more food, and this one will end up in black's favor. Expect Magnus to play just like this.
Yeah, what a nice alignment of tactics indeed.
One move in a position, and know that that's the move they have to find, which they always find. And here he goes. Well, look, he psyched us out. He psyched us out. It looks like he's ready to play a move, and then he decided against the moment. Okay, strong players prefer to have one straight win that's difficult to calculate, whatever else, and he's done it. And that he has decided it is time to take the bishop, going for it, finally settling in. So he had multiple options there, as you say. Could have played that queen f8, but he decided in the end, I believe in myself, I believe in my own calculation, and I'm going to take on f4 and assess all of that. And that's what the Magnus Carlsen, the champion, the confident competitor that we know him to be, and we wait now as queen b2 check has landed on the board, and we're expecting virtually an instant move, although he'll probably double check his variations because he's got a bit of a delay, but we expect him to take that b7 rook, and put it on put it on G7. Here we see the replay of the critical winning move for him. Will he very quickly play rook to G7, rook B G7? And he has done so before. We were busy doing in slow motion. He is busy whipping out moves. And he has calculated his whole winning line and got it from the board and said to MVL, I'm not scared of you. I beat you in the last round in Norway. Not Norway, in Zagreb with white, and I'm going to do it again with black. Thank you very much.
Parries are the same, colors reverse, and that's not fun playing Magnus in the last round both times. But yeah, this F takes G7, we've got the pin, and then against it we have the fork. It's like all the basic tactics
all in one position.
Shown in this position.
It's really amazing. It's a really nice position. I just want to say that I found Queen F8, the more I was looking at it, as being very, very compelling. And kudos to Magnus for finding a straightforward win as well.
For deciding on the straightforward win. Rook D2 has now been played. We expect Magnus to come back. And that knight on F3 is toast.
Exactly.
And he's going to be able to also put a knight on D4.
And that's crucial because that shuts down the long diagonal if you can get the knight on D4. So
that's right. He's going to be able to piece at the end of this, at the end of all the tactics. And that will be all she wrote. We have another position that we're seeing many tactics. Nothing as wild as this, as we expect Magnus. We wait for Magnus to return and play his next move. But Bishop C, this is one of those again, guys. Which one do I do? I mean, there's the queen. If I could only have one move that wins, why do I have to assess all these moves right now? And it turns out he has other moves too. He could play Bishop B7 in that original position. Another move the Indians like. This one is really good. This is what's going through the mind of this great player as he tries to figure out exactly what to do. And I agree, as that caller that said, or the whoever tweeted that said, we're siding with Magnus. You must not have watched us do the same close rapid and blitz. I mean, you would have said we hated Magnus Carlsen the way he was playing chess. But hey, give credit where credit is due and speak the truth to power. Yeah. We call it like we see it.
Oh, genius game so far today.
Magnus is saying, give me the material and the nice position versus the huge bind. That bind, when you look at the bind with E3 and you just look at it more and more and say, go ahead, play some active moves, it does strike you as compelling once again, right?
But just a brilliant game so far. Yeah.
So far it's fantastic.
The opening preparation, it just takes into all the great qualities of a world champion. The psychology of the opening preparation, checkmark. The positional play and the strategy, checkmark. And then the tactics when the timing called for it. And as Murray said, this surprising positional move, Bishop takes C3, the interwove with the tactical ideas to be so spectacular.
And everything you're just saying, and throw in rising to the occasion. When you need a win, making a win. We've seen in this tournament how so very difficult it is to win at the elite level, but to win on demand, how difficult that is. And Magnus is rising to the occasion, as did Garry Kasparov. So many times in his chess career, when his back was to the wall, he really showed his true cards.
And good time management to wrap it all up. Because remember, we see both sides. Right. People who play very quickly, they never get into time pressure, and then like Nebo, but then of course falling into the downsides of that, and then players who think too much. And it seems like Magnus is really taking his time in a position where it demands it.
Right.
By the way, with Sergei Karyakin, and no stranger to the winner's circle here in the Sinquefield Cup. Of course, he won the inaugural Sinquefield Cup in 2013, tied for first last year, that three-way tie, which included Fabiano and Levon. But I wanted to bring up another game, speaking of Fabi. Sergei Karyakin's game, we said he might go...
Magnus played a move that is very strong. He had a Queen H4 siding, but he played this one instead, and Knight D4. This is still very good for him, and this is the kind of position we were talking about, where he's not up material, per se, except the two pieces for the rook. And in the meantime, his game is just very strong. But there's a back rank issue that he's going to have to deal with. And it could be dealt with most effectively, by the way, with this move. Not worry about this check, rook back, no problem, takes, and say, we learned this in grade school. Two pieces beat a rook. Now, the only issue is the weakness of this king. could there be some tactics against his king, as it doesn't look as though black is going to actually crush white easily with piece play only, and he does have an exposed king, so to speak. Now, he can still play a move, for example, like bishop h4. If you play queen to h6, you can resign as you try to get a mate thing going, check, rook back, and now check, hello, and now you just have to give up the ghost after queen takes on f1. MVL, though, has decided to up the battle. Whoa! After, let's go back here, after rook takes f4, instead of doing queen e5, Magnus played bishop to f5.
A move I like, by the way, to stop rook f8.
To stop rook f8, and now b4 to get an open file so he can get with the queen in the back row and then be able to come in after this pawn. Now, the key move here, quiet, easy, h6. You can do your worst. Nothing bad happens here after king h7, and everybody's happy and everybody's good. Magnus has retreated with bishop to e6 instead.
I like this move, actually, 2 moves ago. Before, after rook takes f4, while you were talking about, you know, allowing the rook trade after queen e5, I like bishop e6 right away. The idea was that after rook check, very often you want to keep a pair of rooks when you have the 2 minor pieces as well. The rook and the 2 minor pieces work well, and the king would be really safe. Now,
I think this is the same idea.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But maybe Magnus did it in an incredibly coy way. If I go bishop e6 right away, you are never playing b4, right? So I go bishop f5, you play b4, and I go bishop e6. And thank you very much. You've given me a weakness.
C4 target forever.
Isn't that? Oh, that is so cool.
That's some nasty stuff.
That is some nasty stuff. Now, there's no way of exploiting. I mean,
nothing.
Where does he move his rook? Let's say. I mean, there's no way that he's ever gonna be able to set up some tactics with rook takes g8.
Black in this position you just played rook f8 check bishop g8. If white plays, let's try king f1, for example.
That looks pretty lame.
It is lame.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just making a move.
Okay.
So what is your winning plan? Don't you still have to play? I mean,
let's say I go. Where do I want to go with my queen? Let's say.
Oh wait! I just hung rook b7. Did I?
You hung rook b7. That could be kind of funny.
Yeah,
lovely little
noticed
pattern.
that. Sorry, I'm set up my own self. Okay, back up.
Self immolation there.
Right. Okay, so let's play a3 instead.
Okay, a temporary waiting move.
I'm just trying to waste time.
Okay. Now, where can I? Let's say. Well,
Queen
I like
E5.
your queen e5. I've always liked centralizing moves with the queen, where the queen, you know, picks up strength by eyeballing all of these.
But there's no
killer blow. But one day I will get out of it.
You do have a threat. You have to check and then move your rook up. Because the rook's no longer pinned, so you're actually going to be attacking with this move. You check, I can't play rook f1 because of knight e2 check, and I get mated on the h file.
Right.
So you actually have a real, like, right now threat.
And just to point out that also I do have these types of ideas as well, because your rook is overloaded.
Right, so the rook, well, you just made me move my rook. I swear.
I did.
Okay, so when you play queen e5, even that knight f3 might be a threat. And what if queen d2?
Queen d2 looks like a good defensive reaction. Where is it? I feel like I just got some really nasty shot that should
But the rook is no longer pinned. So what about bringing the rook to the b file if I move? This seems like another
idea. I'm wondering, the knight on d4 is good, but can I do something really even better here? Oh my goodness. How about rook g7? So I can go knight e2 check and knight g2 check.
That looks nasty.
That looks yeah, that looks really.
I would be scared of that too.
Oh boy.
Well, you know what also is good?
Yes,
I think is on that same line.
Okay, queen d2. Yes, please, Maurice.
Is rook g4.
Rook g4.
Nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah.
A checkmate on me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue. This just looks. Well, when you look at the knight as so domination, the queen and rook are great. The bishop, okay, it's passive, but guess what? It really is doing a superb job at defending the king.
Importantly, the rook on f8 is doing nothing. So
Other
that means
than
we are
pinning
up a piece attacking your king position.
With the extra knight.
With the extra knight.
Yeah.
So yeah, rook and bishop, whatever. They're partying with each other. They're all set. No big deal. But that knight on d4 is extra, and you're just asking, how do I win when I'm up a knight?
Precisely.
Because you have nothing, so how do I win up a piece? And this is disaster. This is complete disaster for MVL.
And Jennifer, what's going on in the Nepo game? Because Nepo is the only.
I don't think it's an easy move to see.
No, but
I mean, it's obvious once you actually see it.
Well, we've been looking at so many of these lines where there's a perpetual check, and this idea of
look,
Queen
he's moving
E3.
his queen. It looks like he's reaching for his queen, guys. Is he throwing in a check?
And the clock time he's feeling as well. So I did not believe that that move was easy to see. Rook g6 completely winning, but I don't think
Rook
you
g6
could just
does
look
win.
at it and see it's not just the natural kind of move, as the rook seems perfectly fine where it was. And it does not seem like the kind of move to see. But Queen e3, yeah, it's protecting him against that check. Queen e3, an alternate strong move, that is a lot easier to see that your queen's on a powerful square, and you have this pin, and now the white queen can't move away because of knight e2 check, so the queen has to stay on this diagonal. So he's kind of frozen the white piece just for a moment on that square.
I think it's the same idea that he also wants to try rook g6 at some moment to play rook h6 if he needs to.
I think you're guessing that he sees that idea, but maybe it's true. He might be on another
in some
train
variations
entirely.
Or maybe rook g5 ideas.
Right, now that's more natural to see with the time pressure.
Kicks me out of the diagonal. You don't want to go to d1, and if you don't go to d1, then knight e2 check crops back up. So so you might be forced to go to the unenviable d1 square.
Oh, then rook g6 will be seen pretty quickly. That just releases that tension from the position, and then he'll notice that his rook can move and he can fix his king position pretty rapidly. The moment your queen goes away, there's no sense of danger.
I'm saying I would play rook g5 myself. You know, like if you just play some random move there.
Okay, let me play
like a4. Yeah. And now rook g5, just shutting the queen out of the party, and now it just seems so.
Then the king can move also.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're unleashing very nicely. So I think his mind is going more in this direction, that he sees that he can start to roll you back.
But this looks great too.
Of course it's great. It's still winning. I'm just for a rook.
Yeah.
Right. I just think you have to be aware of what the human mind sees and what you're looking at as a strong player. And there's certain moves that even if they're good and the computer says that's the winning move, the human brain is like, the grandmaster says it's not positionally founded. It loosens my position a little bit. I'd actually feel that move more than see the move. You feel like this is good. But maybe why do I have to do that? Why don't I just keep all my dark squares covered? Queen on e3, everything's covered. Then put a rook on g5, and everything's covered. Then let my king out, and then eject everybody, and I just rock you.
Yeah, magnificent.
I think this is more human, and now queen h4 on the board.
What?
I wonder why you had to do that in that move order. Because, okay, but yeah, I agree that queen e3 looks phenomenal. I mean, Magnus is just playing this game so well. Queen h4 played now. And what about knight e2 check now? Wasn't that the whole idea that we were trying to get a knight e2 check, or are we falling again for some rook g8 stuff? Well,
I thought knight e2 was actually Black's idea. Knight looks great on d4, but on g3, it'll actually be performing checkmating patterns.
Before we were falling for rook e2, but it's not possible now yet because rook can't take on e2.
Yeah, the rook is in a the pin, absolute pins. Sorry, absolute.
So what to do here, guys? Pick your poison.
Well, it's terrible. This is crushing.
This is really bone
on
crushing.
the board with
check, yeah.
And it's over.
And what about if king h2?
King h1.
Queen e5 was compelling. Yeah. Now Magnus has found his way to victory, as this one is very close. He's going to end up winning a piece ending, as the best white's going to have is giving away the rook for the knight.
Queen
And he's
C1
just gonna be
check?
down a piece.
You mean
The
queen C1,
exchange.
queen C1, and you can't go king.
No, remember, he's already down.
Queen
He's already got the
C1,
2 pieces for the
you
rook.
can't
So if he
play-
gives him the rook for the knight, then
Yeah.
he's going to be down a bishop.
Right.
So-
So king H2 you can't play
So
because
queen
it's queen
C1
C1
check.
and queen H1
Yeah,
mating.
there
so
we go.
Queen C1 check forces rook
King
F1 because
oh, rook
it's
C,
mating
rook
2
F1.
if you play king H2.
And then I go
Now-
Knight
knight
F3, knight G3 check.
Knight G3 check.
And why can we
Oh, this is
knight
bone
G3
crushing.
check?
G3, queen takes F1.
Exactly, yeah. So that
Oh,
really
man,
defeats
this is
the
winning.
whole piece.
He's played
Queen E3 check?
Knight G3, king H1.
And now-
Queen E3 check.
Yeah.
Very nice move for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Way to go, Magnus. Magnus fought back.
Here
A
in the
win
Sinquefield
on
Cup.
demand.
Magnus fights back and won.
Look at that relieved
Good job, champion.
expression and like half smile. He's trying to save his smiles and not to do it in front of his opponent, but he is feeling so good about himself suddenly.
Well, it's a
shocking.
majestic win also. I mean, yesterday's win was a little different than this one. This one is a rival for the best game in the tournament. I mean, it was really
wonderful.
some thrilling conceptions there. Now, Ding Moran's game was really good, so that game against
Against
Gary.
Fabiano and against Geary, those were masterful. This was just a good game. MVL